Welcome everyone to Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter. I am joined by Tara, and we are going to talk about Quantum Leap Season 1, Episode 2. It is called Atlantis. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. So, the dreaded Episode 2. Does it keep the momentum from the pilot? We shall find out. Ben, of course, leapt into an astronaut at the end of the last episode. And we're here on the Atlantis, which is a mission from... IMDb says 1999. I could have swore it said 98 at the start of the episode.
They said 98.
Yeah, I could have swore it was. Yeah, so IMDb's probably just off by a year. But they're basically starting the first part of the new space station, right? That's the mission of the ship. But Ben leapt into a man named David who was originally going to die, and obviously they assume that he has to prevent this death. And that is the core goal of Ben in the episode on this space shuttle, which involves spacewalks, it involves problem solving, and a host of other little bits and pieces. And some interesting questions I now have about the hologram of Addison. So,
me too. I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, well, there was a moment in the middle of the episode where he's out in the spacewalk, so he's in the suit and he's outside the ship, and she's like sitting there, and then she's like standing there, and obviously she's a hologram, so she doesn't need to breathe. I mean, she is technically, because I had this thought, I was like, I can see her breathe, but obviously she's breathing in like a VR room somewhere.
Yeah, it's like a holodeck.
Yeah, so she is breathing where she is, but she's just being projected to now. But then I thought, wait a minute, how's he hearing her?
Again, they have a neural link.
It's a neural. Okay, so okay, that's fine. That makes sense to me, right? It's a neural link. Is because I was thinking, wait, which makes sense, I guess, because no one else can hear her, so it's not an actual physical in space audio. It's just purely in his head. That does make sense, actually. So okay. Where were you going with it?
I had two things. One was in that scene, she's like sitting down on the side of the ship, and it's like, what is she sitting on in the imaging chamber? Is it like a 3D model that they print, or is it just a hologram for her? Like, that's what my understanding was. And the second one is when Ben leaps out. Spoilers, he makes it. And he leaps out. She still lingers there for a little bit. And she's like, so it's a dramatic moment. So like the camera's holding on her, but presumably he's leapt out because the sound effect's over and she's still there. So like, how is she still there? Is there like a few seconds delay? Does she see the person that, Ben leapt out of? If she does, there's like no reaction. Or
vice versa, you mean, does he see her kind of thing?
No, I wouldn't sit. He doesn't have the link with her, so.
Okay.
Yeah, he wouldn't see her.
Okay. Well, I think, I kind of, the way I read it from the start of the episode, because she couldn't actually go to him in the past until they found out where he was.
Yes.
So my understanding from that was that she can actually just linger around after he's gone because she's just there until they pull her out. I never read that as weird.
There had to be a link, still that they, once he's there, because otherwise if they have an imaging chamber that they can go through time and space anywhere they want, like why even bother making the Quantum Leap mission?
That would be that's true. That would be very useful because you could just sort of go back and watch things from anywhere. Yeah, that's true. I guess I would say that there's maybe a bit of an after effect where she maybe lingers for 30 seconds or something before the connection completely blips out, like an after image kind of thing.
I would have loved actually if when that happened you could still hold it on her face, but you just see the imaging chamber like change like it did in the first episode.
Honestly, I suspect that might happen at some point where we'll hold on a similar dramatic shot, but then the surroundings will change to the holodeck effectively.
Yeah.
I could see that happening at some point. So
those are the two things that I thought were kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Like she's seen the David or whatever instead of Ben now.
I bet when she's sitting on the thing, I bet she's just sitting at a table. Like there's probably just be a table sitting there.
Yeah.
It just lines up well enough, or maybe
I actually really do love that shot though of her like just chilling in outer space, looking out.
No, it's pretty neat. So yeah, which I mean, obviously they're looking for him anyway when they're trying to find him, but I did think to myself, wait, if they're neural linked, then surely they could just beam her and she'll go to where he is. But it doesn't work that way though, because they have to find where he is first to sort of like line up like.
Yeah, I guess it's more like if he is in a certain time, then they just have to look for him in that time or something. So I don't know exactly. That's okay. They're just answers we don't have yet, or if we never know, whatever, that's fine too.
It's episode 2. I'm sure some of this stuff will be expanded on. There's some stuff teased in this episode that looks like they're going to be going into like how a lot of this shit works and expanding upon what the original show did with it and things like that. So that's all cool and exciting. And there is more stuff in the real world again. This is clearly going to be a running thing where the B plot is in the real world. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if at some point they do like a kind of a flip where whatever Ben's doing is actually like a really quick, simple little plot that's clearly the B plot of the episode, and it's actually the group in the present day that's the A plot. Like, I think that might happen from time to time.
I would love that. I would love if they do a Lower Deck style where, like, you know, the main mission that the bridge crew is working on is just something in the background while, you know, we focus on our main characters and how their job is day to day.
I totally see that happen at some point. I will say so I like the episode. I guess we'll jump in with.
Me too. Actually, I like this one more than the last one, even.
Yeah, that's fair. I think what it did better than the first one is that I think it did a better job with some of the side characters. I felt like I got a better sense of who Jen was this episode. It didn't feel forced.
Me too.
There was one goofy moment at the end of her plot with Magic that I thought the CG smoke. It was like this all feels a bit hokey the way it's just quickly done this. But other than that, it was fine.
I have issues with that scene, but
yeah, but it's more from like a practical sense where they're saving money by just doing it this way. But the actual plot of what was happening was fine. It was just.
I don't know. The plot of her being like a Bond villain is a little silly.
But that's not them. That's Janice. We'll talk about Janice separately. But I thought Jen was better in this episode. I thought
me too.
She had better banter with the others. The way she talks to Ian about, you know, basically admitting something. And then going with Magic to investigate where Janice is. So Janice, if you don't remember that name coming up last episode, is Al's daughter and the one who seems to have been working with Ben in some capacity. And Jen and Magic go out to where they think she is. Basically, Magic went to speak to Al's wife and sort of tricked her into like phoning her daughter so that they'd have a location for her. But they go out to her place and they find like a secret like basement. There's which, by the way. Well, actually, I was going to complain because for a second I thought they were going to find her down there, and I thought, wait, how did she put the rug on the couch back if she went down? But fair enough, she wasn't down there, so that was okay. It's clearly she'd left and put the things back in her way out, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a nice little line though before they go in where. There's been a running thing throughout the episode where Ben, we find out, was like the person who kind of like kept everyone kind of working together. He was like a good like team building guy who would get everyone on the same page. And there's a bit of back and forth throughout the episode about like that being missing from the group now. And I actually really liked the little moment where she says something to Magic about, hey, why don't you include Addison's decision making when it comes to trusting Ben or not? And we'll talk about all that plot separately, but why don't you include her in that so she feels like part of the team? And he turns to her and goes, are you sure Ben didn't leap into you? And she goes, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. I got a lot of character out of that exchange, more than I got anything out of that awkward scene last episode where she's like, well, since someone broke in, I'll resign because it's my job to do security. Like, that's a really clunky way to tell A, what her job is, but B, like how she cares about her job. It just feels forced. This felt more like, oh, I get from that exchange, you're usually a hard ass, and you trying to act like Ben tells me something about him, which is nice, but it also tells me something about you because it's out of character for you. So so Magic reacting this way tells me a lot about you in general. So, you know, simple little effective exchange of that.
Yeah,
and it was funny.
Had that same thought actually. Well, when that line came up, it was just like, oh, like that's great because it tells us that Ben, they've already been saying like he was sort of the glue. He's what kept everybody, you know, as a team or a family spirit, you know, while they're working, which clearly they are because, you know, they were all at his engagement party. But also, you know, it says a lot of her character that she has this high respect for Ben. So if she sounded like him, that's like a really good thing to, you know,
yeah, that's actually
to
really
reach for.
Interesting thing to point out as well. You just said there about how she looks at Ben and she has this respect for him and what he offers the group. Because earlier in the episode, you get the sense that because she's the one who's enforcing security and she wants to be distrusting of Ben because, you know, they don't know his motives for doing what he did. And Addison sort of looks at her as being a bit of an adversary just for a moment where she's sort of saying, hey, we can't trust him. And I think her doing this later in the episode and making it clear that she does respect Ben and appreciates what he brings to the table, it's kind of a sense of like, oh no, she actually does like Ben and probably thinks he's not doing anything bad, but she has to treat it this way. She has to operate under the assumption that it's possible he was doing something with malicious intent or whatever it may be. So I think that's like a really interesting point to sort of like to get that from her later in the episode after she's kind of like for a couple of scenes felt like maybe she's going to be slightly antagonistic with Magic, you know, against Ben because they don't trust him. So I think that's an interesting little thing to point out. But yeah, which I should talk about that side of things actually is which I actually really like this idea that even Addison has to sort of like ponder for a moment that, yeah, what if like he is up to no good and like he can't remember it now, but Magic says we're not going to try and help him remember anything because it's actually a blessing that he doesn't, because if he was going to do something bad, then he doesn't know that he was going to do it now, then he won't do it.
Yeah, because he clearly did this thing in secret. So why did he do it? Did he get paid off by somebody or, you know? The
tone from the video that he left Addison last episode definitely sounded like a noble thing. The way he said it was like, oh, one day you'll understand why I have to do this. But I completely get why these characters are saying, hey, we don't know. Like, it could have been something bad. You know?
Yeah, little Janice Calavici doesn't seem to be too good.
No, she's in Addison's place later on, looking presumably for the thumb drive that Addison found, which turns out to be the decryption key for the hard drive that Magic and Jen get when they're snooping. And Addison, there's a really kind of on-the-nose bit, which I didn't hate, but there's an on-the-nose bit where Ben's giving advice in the main plot, and it just perfectly lines up with like trusting someone that you know that what they're doing is right because you trust them, even if you don't understand what the reasons are yet. And it cuts to Addison sort of like, oh shucks, like, oh, I kind of have to trust him now.
I really like Addison's like story arc in this though.
Yeah, no, I like it because it's really just about like her, like is she worried that Ben actually did do something bad and that's why she's not offering this information up at the start of the episode, and then she does by the end, and she's like, no wait, you know what, no, I trust Ben, I know he's not done anything wrong, so let's see what's going on. One of the little details I did really like about all this though is that she does confess this to Ben, and Ben's like, you know what, I get it, like I understand, it makes sense because he does remember something. I would have
said the same thing.
Yeah. He remembers earlier in the episode part of his upbringing because he remembers that he immigrated from Korea, and that's why he looked up to this Japanese astronaut, because he immigrated from Japan to America, and he kind of looked up to him when he was younger. And he's like, wait, I'm remembering things. But then Addison isn't supposed to kind of like offer him more breadcrumbs to maybe remember anything. But when he finds this out and he asks about it, he's like, you know what, this makes sense. Who knows what my intentions were? So yeah, which only further means that he's probably the most trustworthy guy there is, because he's like, yeah, that makes sense. Easy going.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, because in the original show, Sam Beckett was very much a Boy Scout, you know, at least for the first few first couple seasons, where he never like wanted to do anything prude or, you know, more than PG rated.
Hey, a couple of years of leaping and not getting home, I think, will break any man's psyche.
Sure. So I just like this idea that he's not really a Boy Scout, Ben, but he's sort of carrying on that legacy of just being a really good person, and everybody truly knowing that at heart, even when there are reasons to distrust him.
Yeah. That was the other thing, is this distrust and like Ian worrying that they're splitting up into like two teams because Addison's trusting them with the thumb drive but not trusting the others. So it's like, okay, we're splitting these four characters into two. Like, yeah, this is a bad idea. So I liked it by the end of the episode. It's like, okay, no, we do have to all work together. We have to be on the same page. So it was a good early episode to build the rest of the supporting cast out and make them feel more fleshed out, I think, in this episode.
Yeah, I think you can get away with it. I mean, obviously the leap is very exciting, and that's the thing that we come back to every week, you know, is the new thing that he's leapt into. But I think having just look at how exciting this spectacle is. He's in space. Isn't that incredible? But let's go back to the to the people who are on Earth still. I don't know. I think it works well for this type of storyline because the big exciting thing is that he's in space and there's danger in space. It's not a lot of like investigation or, you know, trying to get to know a person specifically in the episode for the leap.
You mean specifically for this episode because it is a more straightforward leap?
Yeah,
in that sense,
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I think in a larger point, this like constant B plot of having this team in present day, I like for two reasons. One, it's good for pacing and structure. It's nice to be able to break away from just always being with the main plot. And I've not watched the original show yet, but I assume it is mostly sticking with just him the whole time. And I think that for just breaking it up and giving it a bit of a flow, it actually does make sense to go to a B plot. And then the second reason why I think the B plot and the present day stuff with the team is good is that that's the stuff that's kind of building the overarching serialized plot. That's the stuff that's like, it's almost more exciting sometimes, at least 2 episodes in, because it's like, oh, this is the stuff that's like, okay, why did he do it?
This is the thing that we need to remember.
Yeah. Because the big thing to discover at the end of the episode when they actually unlock the drive is that they see like a sort of, you know, like a model of like all these places in time and space, right? It's a big, you know, a big web. It looks
kind of like I was getting mycelial network from Star Trek Discovery vibes.
Yeah, but they're looking at this and there's like a sort of like highlighted point and it's like whatever Ben was trying to do, it looks like his goal ultimately is to get to a specific time and day, like a specific time and place, which is actually really intriguing because it means that, oh wait, there's a specific thing he wants to change. That, I mean, yeah, he's going to do all these other leaps, but there's a main one that he's trying to get to, which is exciting because, well, it could be the very end of the show. I could also see this being like the end of season 1, because we talked last week about how I could see them switching things up where they swap, and it's actually Addison who's leaping next season or something like that. This feels like something they might get to this season. Whether or not it ends the leaping for Ben for a while or not, who knows, but I could see them getting to whatever this mystery special like specific time is.
So a couple things. I just want to say that I am sort of glad that they didn't have Addison be the leaper for even if it's just for 1 season.
I just want to say I love how closely Persona to leper. That's go on.
I would hate that if she was also that, but I'm just kind of glad that they didn't do her as the leaper for season 1, at least. Like maybe in season 2 and on she will be, but because I'm so tired of like the sexism comments if you have like a reboot or a sequel of casting a female as the lead. And I mean, we do have an Asian male as the lead in this, so there is ultimately going to be horrible people spouting hate about that, but like I haven't really heard as much, and there would just be so much more if it was a woman.
Maybe Quantum Leap fans are just generally skewed better. Maybe that's the reason for it. I mean, it is a little bit sad though that you had
we had like comments saying, "Oh, they're going to make it woke or whatever." When you
there's always shitty people who'll say things like that. It is really sad though that you're relieved for that reason, because that's you shouldn't have to think like that.
I know, it's just the world we live in, and like especially now with like She-Hulk and stuff, which I think is amazing, but like the comments and stuff, and there was a Lady Thor this year and that was a big deal, and I don't know, like I'm just so tired of reading that stuff. So if they do decide to put Addison as the leaper, which was intended originally according to the show anyway, that I think, you know, easing her into it by making it season 2 instead of like the show is coming back, your favorite show, all you sexist assholes out there.
I could see them really shaking up. Maybe not even it could be like 3 seasons of Ben, and then they'll go, oh, now we're going to shake things up to spice up the formula and switch then, or something. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if by the time, if the show lasts,
maybe they'll just skip to each character.
Yeah, if the show lasts long enough, it wouldn't surprise me if everyone gets at least one special episode where they get to leap for 1 episode, just so they get to know how it feels.
It would be kind of cool if Ben, you know, does leap into one of them. Like actually, instead of just being a joke.
I had a thought actually when I was watching this episode. What if someone from a future Quantum Leap project leaps back to the present day in the show and leaps into one of the main characters? I had that thought.
Well, I mean, you could technically do it with this show because it is in the future, and there was a Quantum Leaper working in the 50s and 60s and in 80s, up to the 80s.
Oh no, you mean in the leap? I mean, one of the characters in the present day part like get taken over by an episode from a leaper from the future. Like, so the idea that in like 2050 or something, there's a new quantum leap then, and
okay. There's
a leaper from the future who knows a lot about how everything ends because they're from the future, obviously, and can sort of hint at something. I don't know.
It's, you know, it's too bad that this show doesn't have like the kind of budget that, I mean, I don't mind the small budget and like the cheesy smoke and fire effects that we've seen so far, but like if it had like this, like the Star Trek Discovery budget, and you can do just like an episode where Ben leaps into a side character from, you know, the original Quantum Leap, and they can just superimpose like original stuff. You know, like well, you haven't seen the episode, but
I know what you're talking
Trials
about.
And Tribulations.
The Tribbles, yeah. I know of it.
That would be so fun.
I think they might even try it at some point. It wouldn't surprise me if they try something wacky like that down the line.
Oh, and I also have I have a bit of a theory about this dot, this mysterious lone dot on the map of the
person,
time and space.
The person in place.
I just think that, well, I mean, the way that the map looked is that everything was kind of like a connect the dots. So it seemed like there was like a track or a route that you can take to get to a certain spot while you're leaping. But this lone spot isn't connected to anything. It's kind of its own thing. And the second thing with the dot, I don't want to say because I think it's too much of a spoiler for yourself mostly. So, but it has to do with something that happens at the end of the first show.
Okay.
So if they don't reveal it in the show, then I won't say what my theory is.
Well, it wouldn't be a theory at that point, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Until they explicitly tease, like, directly where you have to talk about it, yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we'll talk about the leap then. We'll talk about everything that actually happens in the leap itself, which is basically the astronaut originally died out in a spacewalk by being hit by debris. And so the theory is just don't go outside. And of course, this is one of the couple of times I got a little chuckle out of the episode, because he says, "Oh, it's fine, I just won't go outside then." And then immediately the other astronaut's like, "Hey, David, we need to go outside." Like right now. The other time is later on in the episode when he has the idea to point the radio at the Russian space station. And like, yeah, that'll need to be done from outside. And he's just sort of sitting there looking up at the ceiling, like, not paying attention. And they're all looking at him, and then he realizes, oh, me. I need to go out and do that. Oh, all right. No, spacewalk it is.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty funny in this episode. Even the beginning, the OS moment was kind of a funny one. Just, you know, good acting in it.
Oh, there was another. I think it's Ian at one point says, "Oh ship."
Mm-hmm.
when they realize where Ben is, we get an "oh ship," and because it was so naturally got into it, I thought I was actually going to hear "oh shit," but I was like, "Oh no! Oh, you swerved me." Of course, it's network TV. You can't say that.
Yeah, I guess he's not saying like shit in the intro either. They keep cutting out before he actually finishes the word. Oh, they always will. Yeah, they'll never on NBC. They'll never let. I mean, I know they have done like I think. I say NYPD Blue did it in the past on network TV, but risque.
I know, but that was a long time ago. I don't think you'd get it now. But yeah, so there's some stuff with the other astronauts, like the senior astronaut and like the woman who's like, she's been training for a long time, but this is her first time actually in space, who takes over as commander when the main guy gets like hit in the head, and then when he wakes up, they kind of disagree about what to do, because Ben obviously survives, doesn't get hit by debris, but the debris, instead of hitting him, hits the ship and like ruins the heat shielding. So they have to convince the other astronauts that if they try and go back into Earth, that they'll be burned up and die. And you know, the reference to Challenger here, not to these characters obviously, but just between Addie and Ben, like they're talking about like the possibilities of what might happen if they don't do this properly. So they have to convince the astronaut to not go back to Earth. We have to find a place to go and get more O2 so we don't suffocate, but we can't just go back in. We have to fix the panels and stuff. So It's simple enough. It's got a lot of nice little moments where, you know, and the effects are pretty decent, I'd say, in space. Like all the stuff with him standing out there looks pretty good. There is like maybe one awkward moment inside the shuttle where he's like floating, and it's like that looks just.
You can tell he's just like.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm not talking about that when you can't see his feet. There's like a wide shot where you can see his whole body. And the way it is like, okay, you're clearly on some kind of wire because it's just a bit too stilted to look natural. But you know, other than that, it was perfectly fine.
The most egregious it comes at the end though, when he's like at the mirror and he's knocking on the window and stuff, and then he just lets go so that he could talk to the Atlantis, and like, don't let go, you're in space.
I know, you're gonna start floating
You'll
away.
Die. I look, he didn't like hook onto it or anything. He was just like, okay, mission's over, I'm gonna leap and leave David to die.
I actually was thinking about that, and I was like, well, I guess he stopped his momentum, so like, but I mean,
too risky, man.
But the station would be moving, because a space station would always be moving a little bit, right?
Yeah, no, I think the inertia would probably keep you on, I think.
Okay. Well, yeah, I also thought that was a bit of a bold move, was just to let go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also love the reaction from the Russian astronaut, or the cosmonaut, I should say.
Cosmonaut.
Yeah, where he's sort of, because that's the thing. They're pointing the radio. They're trying to talk to them with the radio, and no one's answering. And then Ben realizes, oh shit, the time zone the time zone they're operating on, they would be asleep right now. So
we literally have to go knock on their door.
Yeah. So he just jumps across, which I will say this: if I have like one kind of, I'll let it go because it's a network TV show. But I will say Ben is shockingly competent at a lot of astronaut tasks, even though he's never had any astronaut training.
Yeah. Well, Addison's there to help.
And I'm not including the jump, although the jump is also ludicrous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he would even try that, right, and pull it off when he's not a trained astronaut. Even trained astronauts don't train to make big jumps like that from ship to ship, right? That's just not something
if
to do.
If he's just a little bit off, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. You're in deep space. You're off to see the monolith at Jupiter.
Yep.
After a lot of years. But you know, he is very, like, even with Addison, like, you know, like, do. All right, Wikipedia says hit this button. Like, it's like, oh my god, you have to do this so quick for someone who's never doesn't even know his way around the cockpit of the ship, you know. But it's, you know, I think that's something we'll just have to roll with. But it was easier to take when it was, oh, just drive a car, versus, oh,
right.
you have to operate.
How do I drive a stick shift?
You have to operate a space shuttle. So I think that's something that, depending on what type of person he leaps into, we may just have to roll with the, oh, it's absurd that he's even able to like cope this well with the activity he's supposed to do. Because this is something literally, as the other characters point out in this episode, takes years of training to just be allowed to go up here. So
yes, yeah. I agree. I mean, it's sort of in keeping with the old show. I mean, Al knew how to do anything. I mean, he usually had a story for why, and we're pretty positive that they're all made up anyway. But
this one time in college, I accidentally get into a bull riding competition, so I've got some experience with bull riding. Just so happens.
It's literally just like that. Yes. It's just a one throwaway line thing. Oh yeah, I used to do this, or I knew someone who did this, or I dated a woman who did this stuff. You know, It's always the same thing.
I dated a brain surgeon once, so I picked up a few tips.
yeah, it is literally like that.
And his leap at the end of the episode is years undisclosed, but we land in a boxing ring and he starts getting punched like immediately. He tries to tell the guy to stop, but he's just got like a manager yelling to put his hands up and, you know, block and whatnot, and he gets punched.
Did he get an oh shit with this one?
I don't think so.
Recall.
I don't think.
Okay, so they broke the streak
on episode 2. I mean, we were just guessing they might try and make that his catchphrase. Like, he doesn't have to have a catchphrase.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
I suspect it'll be a catchphrase still.
Although maybe his catchphrase is like, wait, because I think he might have done that in both episodes. Like, wait.
That's cute.
I love how he keeps leaping. It's like, it's never just when someone's like sitting at a table having dinner. It's always like when in the moment where their profession or whatever trouble they're in is about to like impact them, you know?
Yes. There's no room to breathe.
Yeah. You're either in the middle of a takeoff. You're not in the waiting room for a piss before you're taking off the next day. It has to be during the takeoff of the shuttle.
Yes. If it's anything like the original show, if he leaps into something that's really calm, there's about to be a really dark reveal.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's totally going to leap into like a serial killer at some point.
Ooh.
Someone bad. Like truly bad. He'll wake up and look down. There'll be like a woman tied up with like it's like tape around her wrists and stuff. He's like, oh dear, oh no. That I mean,
maybe we'll get the OF instead of the OS.
That would justify, yeah. That would justify such language, I think. And just what sort of a weird experience that would be, like someone looking at you like you're a killer, which you technically are in the moment.
Okay, maybe you need to talk to somebody, Peter.
I talk to lots of voices in my head.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't a fever dream. Yeah, we got episode 2 and the show's actually back.
Sure, yeah, no. I enjoyed the episode. The space shuttle stuff was fun. There was more of an emphasis on the supporting cast this time, which I think was smart, just to establish them all.
The B plot kind of felt like the A plot in this one to me, just because we got so much out of the other people.
Yeah, I said earlier on that I was expecting something later where we do that. I guess maybe this one is already viewing quite close to it, but it kind of makes sense in a weird way because there's more characters in the present day part, and maybe that's how you help keep it fresh, is that you don't have to like spend that much time. You can keep the leaps being simpler by not spending the entire episode with Ben. But when there's a more important one, we can, when they've got like an idea for something really in depth. But sometimes it can just be a simple A to B to C, and that's all it is, because we're dealing with stuff in present day instead for most of the episode. So
yeah.
But there was a lot of nice little character beats in this one that revealed kind of who all the characters are. Revealed more about Ben, even though Ben wasn't necessarily the one doing the revealing this episode, which is smart. It's economic writing. There is some network TV cheesiness here or there, with something that's really on the nose, or sometimes just like people being too happy and nice to each other is very network TV. That sometimes I feel.
This felt good today, though. I don't know. This was like a nicer version of that.
I think I appreciate it like in like a reasonable enough dose, because I don't watch any other network TV shows right now, so it has a nice little place in my like bouquet of TV shows, because it's the only one I'm watching that's kind of light like this, which is nice. It's not this super serious show like whatever else I'm watching. Sure.
I like the scenes between Addison and Ian a lot, though, where she was trying to get him to do something in secret, and he was just like, or we can just ask our friends. I don't know. It felt like a nice, building of everybody's relationship, more so than like the party scene in the first episode where everybody felt like robots.
That was very forced, I think. But that's a very piloty thing to do. So no. So the one other thing we should probably mention is that Janice makes a point of saying that Ben came to her and pursued her out for whatever they were doing. So. We'll see what comes of that, and whatever. I'm sure that'll be something that's running in the B plot for a good part of the season, if not all of it. So we'll see. But yeah, episode 2 of Quantum Leap, not too bad. So
not too bad.
Yeah. So let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications. Of course, you can support all the content and keep all of it coming by hitting the super thanks button below the video, or if you want to do it monthly, go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and support us on a regular basis over there and get some bonuses as well. But that is us. That is the show. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?